This broadcast with the big story of the day. Despite the heightened tensions between India and China along the line of actual control, China continues to peddle lies, but India has exposed China's sham once again. While China claimed that India fired warning shots along the line of actual control, the Indian army has denied these reports, calling out China's lies once again. The Indian army has said that the PLA troops of China were attempting to close in on the forward positions held by India. The army has also said that PLA fired shots into the air in an effort to intimidate the soldiers. In a statement, the Indian army asserted that at no stage had Indian soldiers crossed the line of actual control or resorted to any aggressive means, including firing. While India continues to be committed to disengagement and de-escalating the situation on the line of actual control, China continues to undertake provocative activities to escalate tensions. Earlier, Chinese Ministry of Defense put out a statement saying that the Indian army fired warning shots in the presence of the People's Liberation Army troops and that the Indian army had crossed the LAC. India had rubbished all these claims. This development comes days after the Indian and Chinese defense ministers met in Moscow, Russia. The diplomatic and military level talks between the two sides have failed to yield any results so far. Recently, India outflanked China by taking control of strategic heights near the Pangong Lake's southern bank. It also thwarted an attempt by the Chinese army to enter into Indian areas near the southern bank of Pangong Lake in Ladakh. Remember, the Chinese army has already advanced its positions on the northern bank of the lake from close to Finger 8 to Finger 4 areas, and India is claiming that China must respect the status quo ante that existed before the flare-up of tensions between May and June this year. For more details on this story, we exclusively spoke to Major GeneraL SB Asthana, who's a defense expert and has had 40 years of defense experience at national and international level. Listen.
Chinese at this stage are rattled, and they are rattled because we, having occupied these crucial heights, we are in a position to dominate Spangur Gap. We are in a position to dominate any of their move from the Spangur side as well as from the side of south of Pangong Tso Lake. So any attempt of any offensive from these two areas will be observed by us, is under our domination, and that is what makes China nervous. Earlier, they had their surveillance system on these heights. In fact, they were monitoring our movements. Now we have removed their surveillance system. We are doing surveillance on them, and all their movements are under observation. Not only that, their camps at Maldo and their troops who are at the lower heights, they are vulnerable, and at any point of time they can face a fair amount of threat from us if situation so demands. So therefore they are rattled. They are also rattled because Chinese were trying to prove to their population that they are invincible, and now they have been challenged, and these heights have been occupied first time after 1962, and therefore that also is hitting their ego, their so-called false information and propaganda which they have been propagating as if nobody can stand in front of PLA and things like that. I think Indian Army has done a fantastic job by looking at their eyes, by responding them appropriately, by taking preemptive measures, and by ensuring that Chinese have to become nervous and will have to react in this manner. Now, this is not the first one, and this is also not the last one. This kind of tug of war is going to carry on, and we will have to see, perhaps there will be much more exchanges in times to come.
We are getting a quick news update at this moment. We're getting a reaction from Russia on the recent escalation of tensions between India and China at the LAC. Russia says that it hopes India and China will find solution on border issues. Russian Deputy Envoy says we encourage peaceful solution and adds that any escalation of issue should be avoided and that both the countries have huge potential. India and China are responsible international players. So Russia is urging restraint between India and China. But we earlier spoke to Harsh V. Pant, who is the head of the Observer Research Foundation's Strategic Studies program. Listen in.
It underscores the underlying volatility along the LAC, both because the Chinese are now intent on provoking a crisis and also the fact that India is intent on responding to the Chinese challenge in a very proactive manner, which makes the LAC very, very volatile, and I think which also makes this a battle of narratives. So China is trying to shape the narrative by laying the blame on India repeatedly. China has made it very clear that it takes no responsibility for its behavior along the LAC, and India will have to accordingly respond to this challenge, which I think India has been doing relatively creditably over the last few days. And what we have also seen is that the Indian army is now well positioned to defend and also to take the battle to the enemy, if you will. And I think that is going to change the calculus on both sides and has already changed the calculus on both sides. So as we move along, we will see this volatility not coming down because both sides are not going to budge from their respective positions, and we have to be prepared for some kind of an escalation, localized escalation perhaps along the border.